All right, I'm currently on the phone with Izzy. She's another musician that reached out about the current interview series. So I'm going to go ahead and give her the chance to introduce herself.
Hi guys, I'm Izzy Karr. I'm a musician from St. Paul, Minnesota, and I'm a flutist and I'm also a singer-songwriter.
Awesome, very cool. We'll definitely get into some of that. But to start, I always like to kind of go back to the beginning and find out, how you got into music. When did you first come in contact with it, and what about it was important?
Well, I've always kind of been in contact with it. My granddad he retired, but he plays the saxophone. And I started playing the flute when I was 10 and I just like fell in love with it. I always like wanted to play an instrument because I always just really like loved music. My parents would always like listen to like the Beatles and stuff, and I really liked that music. So I just because of like my parents listening to music and my granddad being a musician, I kind of always wanted to get into it. And then once I started playing, I just like fell in love with it, and I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Excellent. So, give me a little bit more detail about your grandfather kind of inspiring you to pursue an instrument. Was it specifically the flute that he kind of inspired you into, or was that via your own choice?
That was kind of my own choice. When I like my school, when they were like, oh, you can do band, they were like, list like three instruments. So I just kind of went with like the woodwind family, and like the saxophone, I think, was my first choice. And then I think the clarinet might have been my second choice, actually. And then the flute was my third choice. But I went with the flute because I just kind of like clicked with it. And I did play the saxophone for a little while, like for like 2 years. But yeah, flute, like even when I played the saxophone, like I never really like wanted to practice it very much. I was just like, flute, flute, flute. This is my thing.
Awesome. So, from the sounds of it, it sounds like you were in the school curriculum in the music program, so concert band. Did you do like marching band or anything?
Yeah, my middle school had marching band. My high school did not. I went to like a performing arts high school, so we didn't have like a football team or anything like that to like, you know, be having marching band for. But in middle school, we had marching band, and then I actually was like, my first gigs were, I got hired by the History Theater, which is like a local theater in St. Paul, to like be a cast member in like a marching band part of like the play. And so I was able to like play my instrument, and I got like a couple of solos. Because I like played an actual like character that was like playing the flute. And then at the Guthrie Theater, I was again like playing a character that was like a marching band member for like the Music Man. So
That's kind of some funny irony. You didn't have it available to you at school, but you were able to pretend to be one anyway.
yeah.
Funny. Awesome. So, tell me a bit about how that kind of continued after high school. You said you went to a performing arts high school. What were kind of your steps after that?
Well, I went to the University of Minnesota Duluth for a couple years, and I wanted to go there because the flute teacher, I really, really liked her, and she kind of recruited me, but I also like really wanted to study with her because that was when I was like focused on classical music. It used to be like my goal to just, like get a job in an orchestra and like, have that job and then, do like solo stuff on the side. But um she is like Afro Latina, and in classical music there it's very like white male dominated, and so there's like a lot of like organizations and things that try to like bring people of color and women more to like the front focus of classical music. So I was like, I really want to study with not a white man.
Sure. So that brought you up to Duluth then. How long were you studying up in Duluth, and did you finish university up there then?
I did not finish. I ended up transferring, well, trying to transfer. I got accepted to Berkeley, but I ended up not going. There was like some housing issues and just a lot of drama. So, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So once all that kind of happened and you had to kind of pick what your direction was going to be, what did you decide to do?
I kind of felt like I wanted to like focus on my like singing and songwriting stuff more for a while. And so I was really focusing on that. I started like singing and songwriting when I was at UMD Duluth. Um, because we like had like a group piano class, and getting those skills on the keyboard like really helped me to kind of like get thoughts and ideas out on the piano. So yeah, I started writing my own music then, and so after I left I was like, I just want to kind of focus on that for a little bit. But then I started taking flute lessons again, and trying to like do more jazz projects and like contemporary projects rather than classical music. So yeah, over the summer I was like doing a group that was kind of like trying to, it was called like the Women and Jazz Combo. And so it was supposed to kind of like be, I guess, like highlighting women in the jazz scene of like St. Paul and Minneapolis. And I guess like non-binary people too, but like it was called Women in Jazz. But yeah, and then also like playing with like another group in town that plays jazz. So yeah, not doing that classical as much anymore.
Sure. So, give me a little bit more detail about kind of how you kind of have balanced your own want to write music versus playing in other ensembles.
Hmm, that's a good question. I guess I just kind of like set aside the time to like write, be creative, get my ideas out. Sometimes it's like I'm just like practicing, and then I like have ideas and I kind of like write them down and jot them down. Um, yeah, I guess just like kind of setting aside the time to like let yourself be creative and like let your thoughts flow.
So, would you consider yourself more of a solo singer songwriter or, I guess, lack of a better term, I'm going to say a session musician?
Mm, Solo singer songwriter.
Okay, so let's dive into that then. Tell me about your kind of ambition for what you want to get out of your own songwriting.
Well, I want to start like playing my own songs and like getting gigs with that, because I've found success with like playing my flute out, but I would really like to like showcase the songs that I've written because I feel good about them. Um, yeah, that's kind of like my next step. That's kind of like my ambition. I'm not like trying to be like somebody super famous or super popular, but I am just kind of like, I like what I have. I think some of the things that I've written about people could like relate to, or like, kind of, I think people could also like gain inspiration from what I've written. So yeah, I just want to like share them with people.
Okay, and then also tell me about what your kind of ideal lineup is. Like, what do you envision for a stage project? Like, what instruments would be involved?
Piano, voice, so like my thing. I have been thinking of like asking some people I know, like a drummer and a bassist, if they would be able to like listen to my music and be able to like play that stuff so they can like back me up. But yeah, so like voice, piano, drums, and bass.
Okay, so it wouldn't just be you on stage with like a piano and singing. It would be kind of a full band kind of thing.
Yeah, I could do just like me and the piano, but I think it would kind of sound a little bit better if there was like more filled out like what it sounds like on the recordings, because when I have recorded and like produced my music, I I don't add a beat to every song that I write, but I do add them sometimes, and I oftentimes add bass lines just because I really like the bass as an instrument, but I think like it adds a lot of just like depth, and it adds something that is missing in my opinion.
Sure, definitely. All right. So you mentioned that you are doing recordings and everything. Tell me about kind of what your hopes are and, where you're releasing your stuff and how people can find you.
Well, I let's see. My hopes. I guess well, I'm kind of interested in like learning more about music production because I know people can get work from like producing music for others. So if I got to that point where I felt confident enough in my skills, I think that's something that I would be like interested in. And then where to find me? You can find me on Spotify under my name is just Izzy Karr, IZZYKARR. And I also release my music onto like YouTube Music, SoundCloud. Um, I release it like a bunch of places. I use DistroKid as a distributor.
Okay, so it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, what are, some of your favorite memories that you've had from the time that you've been learning and writing music that stand out to you?
My favorite memories, I guess this summer, it was really, really fun. I got to play at the Twin Cities Jazz Festival. So I kind of always wanted to do that, and that was really fun. What else? Um, in high school, it was really fun playing like we would play a lot of Snarky Puppy covers at in my high school jazz band. And then in our high school orchestra, we used to play like a lot of 20th century music. So playing like that kind of repertoire, I guess, was really fun. And yeah, definitely have those are kind of like my best memories, just like performing.
All right. So I always like to give the person I'm interviewing the opportunity to put out their last word. So what's a message that you have that you think other people should hear?
I guess be kind and value your community, value those around you.